Okay, we are here chatting this morning with Kentucky Yoga Festival with the event manager, Emma. We're excited to chat with her to learn more about the event. And later on today, we'll be chatting with Fern, the founder of Dancing Lion in Florida. So we're traveling from Florida, Kentucky, New York City, all across the country. All right, I see you. Let's see if this is going to work. Gonna accept. Let's hope that this works. Oh, this looks good.
Think it's working now.
Woo! Can't beat us, internet, Instagram.
Yeah, it was sending me in that, I call it the death spiral, when it's like, you've requested, but we're not doing anything about it.
It's the equivalent of like hold music. It's like do 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 do. Like, what's happening?
Yep, absolutely.
But we did it. We managed to make it work. We're powerful. It's a Monday. It's not going to get us. We got this.
Absolutely.
So good morning. I'm so glad we're able to chat. I get so excited when I hear about festivals happening all across the country.
Mhm.
And when I saw it was like Kentucky, that's amazing. Then there's Alaska, all over the place. They're happening everywhere. And this is so exciting to see. So I want to hear about this festival, how it started, how long you've been around. Share with us. It's happening this summer.
Yes. So the Kentucky Yoga Festival, our first festival was in 2019. We actually did two that year, and then decided it was too cold in the fall in Kentucky to be doing yoga outdoors. So we happen once a year in May, but it was actually a spinoff of Playthink Festival. So Paige Zinn, who founded both, she started Playthink in, I believe, 2012, but don't quote me because I wasn't around then. And there's a yoga section to Playthink. That's, they have tons of yoga offerings. And a lot of people came to her like, well, we want just a yoga weekend, something that kind of spans all experience levels that yoga studio owners and teachers can come to, but also beginners and feel comfortable. And so she took the idea and ran with it. And in 2019, had the first Kentucky Yoga Festival. So aside from 2020, when nobody gathered, we have been running since 2019, once a year, and it's grown a lot. I think I was at the very first, I actually volunteered at the very first Kentucky Yoga Festival. Is how I got involved as an organizer as well. And I think there was like 100 of us out there, maybe. And then this last year, we had 500 attendees and 40 instructors and just an amazing team. And so it's grown a lot, and it's been really fun to watch it grow and really bring together the Kentucky yoga community in that way.
And I love that there is this desire now, and in the beginning, I love that this started not even as a yoga festival, but Paige obviously realized that there was this interest and this community that was really wanted this, that it then spanned its own festival that's grown fivefold. I mean, that's it's so beautiful to hear.
Yeah, it's been amazing to watch it grow. I'm very lucky that I had gotten involved in the first one. I didn't even know when I came to volunteer that it was the first yoga festival, because I had heard about Playthink. Actually, I was traveling in Arizona and someone was like, oh, you're from Kentucky? I go there for this festival. I'm like, no, you don't. Really? Like, in Kentucky? And so I came back from traveling and was like, well, I'm gonna go. And she has a very amazing volunteer system, a work trade system, if you can't afford a ticket. And as a fresh out of college student, I couldn't. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna volunteer. And then it was like, oh, they also have this other festival. I'm like, I'm going to volunteer there. And I didn't even realize it was the first yoga festival at the time. So I've been very grateful that I've got to see it from the very first event. There's not one I've missed yet. And then now getting to be involved in organizing it, getting to see instructors and volunteers year after year, are people who started not necessarily their yoga journey, but decided to go get yoga teacher training after coming to the festival, and now they're teaching. this coming year. And that's just really exciting to kind of see that growth and to be able to go to other events throughout the state and people be like, oh, do you know about the yoga festival? I'm like, yeah, I do.
Right.
Great.
You're like, boy, do I know. I know about the festival.
I know a thing or two about it.
Had you been to other yoga festivals? I know you said you'd been to Playthink, but had there been other yoga festivals in another state that maybe you had visited before?
Not for me personally. Paige has gone to other ones, but I have not had the opportunity to yet. I've been to other general festivals and I've been to other flow arts festivals, but I had not been to a yoga festival prior to this one. And I have a couple on my radar this year that I'll be going to. I'm really excited for, and more now that I know different ones, but I didn't realize the whole world of yoga festivals. And it's been cool even seeing different ones pop up and getting to kind of hype them up online. And we've had a couple reach out and be like, hey, like I'm also in a small Midwestern state, like, you know, can you share our event? I'm like, it's great. It's wonderful.
And it's such an amazing thing because, I mean, part of it is the accessibility. So you're providing this opportunity for, like you said, someone who may not have the time or the money or just the bandwidth to travel to another state, they can now experience it in their own, maybe in their own hometown. And that's what I love about these local festivals, is that it's providing these new opportunities. And you're also spotlighting the local teachers as well. Is that's part of your lineup? Share your lineup. I don't know if you've announced it yet or if you're still working it out.
We have not. So we actually closed applications last night at midnight. So our lineup will be out in about 2 weeks. But we have a pretty heavy emphasis on local instructors. We do bring in a few out of state, depending on availability, but we really are, it's grassroots, you know, it's our community here in Kentucky, and that's what we want to support. And so when it comes to our instructors, it's pretty heavy that, and even our music, because we dance party at night. It's yoga during the day and music at night, and we try to stay with local and regional musicians as well, because it's just really important to us that this is the Kentucky Yoga Festival, and that does encompass some surrounding states because we're, you know, small here in the Midwest, but it is a lot of local instructors, and then throughout the state, of course, because Kentucky does span. We are in the South Central region, and you can drive 5 hours away and still be in Kentucky. So, so we do pull from all across the state, and then another thing that we do with our studios is we offer every studio in the state a free ticket so that the studio owners can come, or they can send somebody on their behalf if they're more comfortable with that, because we really want our local community to be involved, and that's the priority. We're not trying to fly people in from all over, unless they really want that, in which case we'll see what we can do.
I love that. And do you offer, so is the festival for anyone who's maybe never tried yoga and has just kind of yoga curious, I always say? Do you offer that as well, so that they maybe are like, I don't know, maybe? Do you have those classes?
Absolutely. It spans all ranges. My own partner had never done yoga before I took him to the yoga festival, and he now practices once a week with me. And so, yes, it is absolutely, it is. And it's not just flow classes. It's the other thing that's really important to me is if you're coming to the festival and say you're with a couple and one person is the yogi and they want to practice, I want there to be classes where your partner can sit in as well. So we have permaculture classes and, you know, discussion-based classes and motivational speakers and sustainability. We're also lucky to be on water, so we have some water-based stuff that's not necessarily a yoga flow class. So if you don't feel like that's accessible to you, there's still something for you to do.
Yeah.
And that's really important to me, is that everybody, we also are an all ages event. Children under 14 are free to attend, and we do have kids classes that are both yoga flow as well as just fun kids activities, so that there's something really for everybody in the family to do and to enjoy.
I love that. I love that. So the whole family can come. There's no excuses. You can bring the kids. And I also saw, because personally I'm a little terrified of this, but I saw that you have camping. I was like, that's amazing. You offer camping as well.
It is. It's and most people do stay in camps. Our venue is gorgeous. It's 50 acres and it's water on three sides. There's two creeks and a small river. And most people stay in camp. There are some kind of nicer glamp sites that are, have a roof to them. And there are hotels nearby if that's what you choose to do. But a lot of people stay at the venue the whole weekend. So you come in on Thursday and you get set up and you don't leave till Sunday. And, you have food vendors or you camp, cook at your campsite. And it really helps people disconnect. There's no cell service at our venue.
Oh, wow.
So once you're there on Thursday, you're disconnected and you don't have to turn your phone on and you don't have to track the time and you can just really immerse yourself in the experience. And that kind of scares some people because they're like, I need to check my phone. But by Saturday, you just see they're relaxed, they're journaling, they're reading a book by the river, they're talking to people and laughing and making new friends. And that's something we don't have the opportunity for right now in a lot of ways in our society. So it's really great to see that opportunity to disconnect and see people take advantage of that.
I love that that's one of the things, and I love that you also have warned people. So it's like, be prepared. You will not have cell service. So just know going in. And I think that's a great thing. I mean, we're so tied to our phones and glued to our phones all the time. I mean, that's partially why we created a print magazine, because digital is wonderful and it's accessible, but just holding and taking that moment to just pause and be present and enjoy the people around you, like you said, and maybe meet a new friend. It's just one of the amazing things about festivals in general is this opportunity to meet all these new people.
Yeah, it really is. And it's fun to see it's gotten to this point where there's groups that see each other once a year at Yoga Festival. And so they camp together and they can kind of watch their campsites grow throughout the weekend as they adopt new people in. Or if I'll do a check at like 2 a.m., just, walk in the perimeter and it's like, you'll wander up to a campfire and like, they're still up and chatting. And it's, it's fun conversations and it's the ability to connect on a deeper level because you're, now here for 3 days together and with no excuses but to talk or meditate or get your flow on.
What was the thing that surprised you the most when you moved from sort of an attendee to sort of a event planner role in the festival? There must have been, I mean, it's a huge shift in responsibility, but what was the thing that you were like, oh, that's surprising? Like,
I think perhaps just the vast amount of small moving parts that I just had never thought of.
Yeah.
That I'm like, oh, I need to calculate porta potties by the number of attendees. I had never thought of that. And then how early things get done. Because my first year as an organizer, I'm like, oh, I have time. And then I was like, oh, I'm out of time, actually. And I didn't make that reservation. Whoops. Because at this point, the festival's in May. Most of our other than our instructor lineup, because applications stay open until January 15th, but like small reservations and music, all of that is done in October. And then and so it's well out in advance. And really, as soon as the event's done, we roll straight into Playthink. And we have 2 smaller events as well throughout the summer. But pretty much by August, we're back into planning the next event the next year. And I think that was an adjustment for me when I first started organizing, that I was like, wow, this is really a year-round labor of love.
It really is. And it's great that in a way that you started with 100 attendees, because had 500 come to that first one, it would have been like, oh, okay, you kind of had a chance to just get your momentum growing. And when you have 1,000 next year, you'll be seasoned. You'll know, okay, 50 potties, this is it. So sometimes it's a mixed blessing. Right?
I will say that my first year on site as an organizer, we had 1 golf cart and the brakes had gone out that weekend, but I drove it anyways. Our venue is hilly. It is Kentucky. And that became the joke. I was like, watch out for Emma. She's on the golf cart again. And that was something going into the next year. I was like, okay, I'm going to ground, I'm going to breathe, and I'm not going to be chaotic on a golf cart.
That helps no one.
And that was like one of those things is, I handled the first year well or okay in my opinion, but I was definitely not grounded. There's so much energy coming in, and as an organizer, when you're handling, so we call them small fires, small things that need done, and you're pulled so many different directions, it's hard to remember to ground. And so that was something I worked with my yoga teacher that I go to weekly or before the event. I was like, okay, Bree, I need you in my head. She won't come to the event. Her social anxiety is too bad for that. But I'm like, I need you in my head. And so we worked through some of those things. And that whole event, anytime I felt myself just building, I'm like, okay, I have Bree in my head. And I actually got to attend classes, and I got to drive slowly and handle those things. And that was something that I'm really grateful that I started with an event that was smaller so that I could grow with it and grow in being able to ground in those larger spaces where there's just so much energy. And I see Teresa saying it was the most fun. She does quite love the chaotic golf cart rides.
And I think as an organizer, it is important, like you said, to be grounded, and you're the calm in the storm, but also to enjoy what you've created, because you've worked on this for a year, and to be able to actually attend your own event and to participate is priceless and necessary. So you can also see what's working, what maybe needs more work, and to just have a moment to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So good on you for doing that, and for early on making sure that was important.
Yeah, and it's really, it's not just Paige and I. We have a whole organizer team that works with us. So, we have Catherine handles instructors, and Autumn handles social media, and Robin handles vendors. And it's important that all of the organizers that work with us get to participate in the event when we're there. That's something that Paige recognized early on that she didn't necessarily do with Plaything, was make sure that balance was there. So when she started Yoga Festival, she was like, this is important. I need a good organizer team, but I also need to make sure there's a balance to where we can support each other so that we can take those classes or go down to the river and swim, or spend time with our family that's there with us. And so that is something that's really important, that I think maybe not every organizer has that balance, especially starting a new event. It can be hard, but it is definitely being able to enjoy the event. And then you can be like, oh, I want this tweaked, or I adore this instructor and I must always have them, and things like that.
Yeah, and 3 days, that's, it's a good amount of time where you got to be there. You got to focus.
Yeah, and it is a packed schedule generally. Last year we did go to 2-hour class blocks so that there was more time in between, but it is classes we have sunrise classes at 6:45 a.m. and stargazing at midnight.
Wow.
And so it is a full schedule, and there are 5-6 different class spaces. So at any given time, you have lots of options on what you want to do.
Amazing. Amazing. Emma, thank you so much for chatting with us today. And if you are near Kentucky or need a vacation and want to go to Kentucky, check out this amazing festival. They're on our website right now. We are going to be sending you guys copies of our premiere issue to share with all your guests as well. And we're so excited, and I love seeing this. Do more of it. Paige, do more. We need more festivals. We need more community and connection, and you guys are making this happen. So thank you so much for all your hard work.
Thank you so much for chatting with me. I'm so excited to see your all's magazines and to have them available for people.
Great. Thank you, Emma, and I'm glad we made Instagram work.
Yes. Thank you so much.
We'll share this on our page, and I'll send you the YouTube link when it's done as well, so you can share as well.
Awesome.
Yay! Take care. Have a great one.
Take care.